Hey, fancy meeting you here. Well, just as I said, we have the explanation video for major essay project number 1, the prompt. So let's go ahead and look at that, see what this is all about. Okay, so a little bit of context for the essay prompts or any prompt for something that we're working with, or most of them at least. I'll often include a link for you to access the document in Google Docs, which will give you a nice printable version of it. So if you like to print things out so that you can annotate and write on them, keep it with you in your folder or whatever, go ahead and click on this link and it will be a nice printable version of it. But all the information is here. So let me go ahead and jump into this. English 1, major essay project number 1. For our first major essay project, we will compose an institutional autobiography based on practice session 1 and institutional autobiography on pages 25 and 26 of Habits of the Creative Mind. As Miller and Jurecic explain, the goal is to reconstruct your personal history as a reader and as a writer in school. They go on to explain that this autobiography should present an account of both moments of learning and moments of unlearning or frustration. Use the questions included in the practice session to help you generate ideas and focus them. So the practice session that you will complete by Friday, February 25th, is here on pages 25 and 26 of our textbook, Habits of the Creative Mind. So within that practice session, Miller and Jurecic, the authors of our textbook, provide us with some questions to consider, various things that we're trying to accomplish in this activity. And so we're using this activity, practice session 1 in institutional autobiography, to plant the seed essentially for the ideas that we'll be expanding and fine-tuning in major essay project number 1. So you can view this practice session as kind of a brainstorming activity in a way. Your polished draft, so recall the polished draft is the one that I assess and the only one that counts toward your final grade. Your polished draft will be assessed based partly on the criteria outlined on pages 173 of Habits of the Creative Mind. So we haven't read this section yet, but you can find the list of criteria that I'm referring to here on page 173. So I really recommend that you take a look at that just to see what that's all about. So your polished draft will be assessed based partly on that criteria or those criteria, but I will also provide a more specific rubric for some guidance for you to aim for to see the different gradations of success for this essay project. So stay tuned for that. We'll talk about that in the coming weeks. This essay project is your chance to put into practice all of the concepts we've been reading and learning about so far this term. Be sure to review your notes and reread important selections we've covered from Habits of the Creative Mind. Resist your familiar habits and practices as writers. Try something new and exciting. Follow your curiosity, take risks, and attempt to have fun while composing this essay. Now, I don't mean this last statement in a sarcastic way. I really do encourage you all to attempt to have fun while you're composing this. Be curious about the ideas that you're exploring and attempt to address them in fun and interesting ways for yourself. Formatting parameters. So by the time you submit your polished draft of major essay project number 1, you will need to meet these formatting parameters. Okay, so a minimum of 4 full pages in length, at least 7 paragraphs, formatted according to MLA guidelines. So MLA guidelines means 12 point times New Roman font, double spaced, 1-inch margins on all 4 sides, and a properly formatted Works Cited page if applicable. So 7 paragraphs. You can always write more than the minimum here. So you can write more than 4 full pages, but you can't write fewer than 4 full pages. And you can write more than 7 paragraphs, but you can't write fewer than 7 paragraphs. So just keep that in mind. These are always minimums, not maximums. And then the due dates we're working with here. So the practice session, the one that is referenced up here, practice session 1 in institutional autobiography, that is due Friday the 25th of February via Canvas by the start of class. Okay, so you'll go ahead and upload your reflection or the written response to this activity to the discussion post by the start of class on the 25th. Draft 1 of our essay project with the accompanying cover letter is due Friday the 4th of March, and that is also due by the start of class via Canvas. So you'll upload your document to Canvas just before we meet on that Friday. The cover letter, don't stress about the cover letter right now. We will talk about this in class. And then the polished draft and the accompanying cover letter for that draft is due Friday the 11th of March. And again, that will be due by the start of class through Canvas. So these are the due dates we're working with. But let me just give a little bit more context of what this project is asking us to do. So one of the habits of mind that we are trying to learn and be able to adopt as our own habit, or one of our own habits of mind, is reflecting or being self-reflexive or reflective. And what that means is that you are able to look back at your previous and past experiences, to examine them so that you can learn from them, to look back and see and make better sense, hopefully, of your experiences in your past and tracing them to the present. So what we're trying to reflect on is our experience with reading and writing in school in particular. So we want to think about what were the formative experiences that we've had in school with reading and with writing. Was there a special teacher, a particular teacher that really played a significant role in your development as a reader and as a writer? Was there a particular assignment or project you worked on in school? So whether that was in elementary school, junior high, high school, or even college, a significant project that really influenced that. Perhaps you had a really difficult experience in an English course or a class that required a lot of writing that also played a significant role. But whatever it is, we're trying to provide a history, as they say, reconstruct a personal history as a reader and as a writer in school. And we want to pay attention to moments of learning and moments of unlearning or frustration. And so unlearning is something that we'll read about from the essay on unlearning. So a lot of these things will make a little bit more sense after you've read that particular essay in Habits of the Creative Mind, and after you've completed or at least looked at the practice session on pages 25 and 26, creating an institutional autobiography. So in essence, that's what we're trying to accomplish. So as we progress in our course, I encourage you to begin thinking about your experiences, paying attention to some of the memories that you've had. You might even look back at some of your old writing projects if you have those available. Look back at an old hard drive, or perhaps in your email account, or if you use Google Docs or something along those lines. Look back at your writing that you've done in your previous classes to maybe consider as an example that you would include in your essay. Okay, everyone. Well, if you do have any questions, feel free to message me on Canvas using the inbox feature. Otherwise, we'll talk more about this in the coming weeks. I look forward to getting going with this project with y'all. All right, everybody. Take care.